Hi everyone. Do you have any kids that play video games or no parents that allow their kids to play video games? Presently, 7 out of 10 children play video games in this day and age. Do you know what kind of video games your children are playing? Are they playing the appropriate games for their age level? I'm going to tell you why kids should not play mature rated games. Many children under the age of 17 play M-rated games, which contain explicit language, directly disrespects women, first-hand role and killing process, while resolving conflict through violence. M-rated games are for ages 17 and up. It may contain intense violence, blood, gore, sexual contact, and or explicit language. Why would you want your child to hear some of the disturbed language when you would not speak it in front of them, or you would not want them to repeat it at home or at school? If you could only hear some of the language that these characters use, you would rethink buying this game, and you would think that this game would come with a bar of soap with the gameplay. It is amongst America that these games have increased their technology to allow them to be up to date with the language barriers that we obtain nowadays. And that's how the society is changing. As it grows and it changes, the game systems change with it. Games like Grand Theft Auto allows kids to be aggressive and violent toward women. I personally wouldn't want my boys growing up thinking that it is okay to abuse women and it is okay to talk down on women, because that's what they do in Grand Theft Auto. In Grand Theft Auto, the video game allows you to go up to a woman and slap them and call them a bad word, or push them on the ground, or do some of the sexual content things that you see going on in the society today, as in prostitution, things like that. It goes on Grand Theft Auto, and that's something that parents don't look at and think, is this okay for my 13-year-old to be playing Grand Theft Auto? And that's where the disrespect towards women come into play. At the age of 13 or 15, that's when you need to start grooming to a child. Hey, you need to hold the door for a woman, not allow them to think it is okay to run her over in a video game, because that is not okay, or to shoot her in a video game, because that is not okay. Kids don't know the difference between right and wrong as they're growing up, but if you instill in them that, hey, it is not okay to do what they do in video games, hey, this is the difference between a video game and life. The first-hand role and killing process teaches children how to commit murder in detail and how to get away with it. This is the one that scares me the most, because a lot of serial killers and murderers played through the game process, played through video games, and grew up with that, and now they blame it on the gaming system, on why they're so messed up in the head, on why they commit the killings. Oh, well, I seen it in Metal Gear or Call of Duty or whatever it may be. Oh yes, it is okay to shoot random things, and it is not okay, and that's what we need to teach our children. All of this killing process is not okay, because they are still growing. Their minds are growing between the real world and the virtual gaming world. Kids have a hard time distinguishing the difference between what's real and what's not when they're into their game world. So that is something that we need to take into effect as parents and say, hey, this is what's in the game, and this is what's not in the game. Violent video games shows kids how to express themselves physically. When something might bother or be offended of a situation, their reaction will not be a calm one. The violence comes into play for the kids when they are able to handle a situation. Well, in the video game, they just push somebody down, but in real life, instead of talking through it, when a kid upsets another kid, they are going to act violently. And studies have shown kids act violently and aggressively for the ones that play video games versus kids that do not play the M-rated video games and play the normal video games. They have grown to see a difference, and I think that's something that you need to see, as the studies have proven. Kids should be taught to fix a situation without having to abuse one another, as in the video games have abused one another. So think twice before you ignore the rating of the game that your child desperately needs. Don't ignore the signs of gunfire coming from a room or the explicit language that you hear on a video game. Do not ignore it. I never said once video games are bad at all. I'm saying ratings are categorized to fit the appropriate age. So if you decide if you want our future to be progressive or aggressive, so it is your decision to make this overall process, to think, hey, do I want my kids to progress or do I want them to be aggressive? And this is why the whole ratings are into play in the video games for us to decide as parents, because we are the parents. We need to make that decision. We have control on whether or not our children should be playing M-rated games, even though, yes, they may be mature, yes, they may know the difference, but is it right for a 10-year-old to be playing M-rated games with all the violence, with all the robbery, with all the theft, auto thefts, beating up people, robbing people, stealing? All of this comes into play into society and teaching kids from right from wrong, doing it the right way versus being aggressive and fixing through a solution and being explicit language and using it and just growing up with it. We need to teach our children that that is not okay between the virtual world, virtual gaming world versus the actual real world. This is where we need to make a difference in our future with the kids. Thank you.